Hello and welcome to Between the Books. I'm Isadora.
And my name is Shannon.
And today we're going to be talking about Diary of a Void by Emi Yagi. But we also going to talk about us going to Japan. That's why we've been missing for a couple of weeks. And it kind of goes along with this book, which is written by a Japanese author. And yeah, so stay tuned. We're going to do a little non-spoiler section, talk about Japan, and then head into spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, you can stick around for a little longer, read the book, and then come back. But before we get to that, Shannon, what are you currently reading?
Okay, so I forget if this was on my mid-year freakout tag or not, but I'm reading A Theory of Dreaming, or A Theory in Dreaming.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're
by Ava Reed, which is the sequel to A Study in Drowning. Study in Drowning was one of my favorite books that I read last year. I thought it was really good. But I'm nervous about this sequel because I thought Study in Drowning was a really good standalone book.
Yeah.
And this book exists purely because A Study in Drowning was such a success.
So, like, technically the first one, like, had a conclusion and everything.
Yes. So I don't know what this book is about. So I'm being cautiously optimistic. But I am excited to, like, see these characters. Like, I am excited about it.
Yeah.
But I'm also, like, nervous, you know? Do you ever, like something so much that you're like, oh, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
And I hope that this doesn't color my experience with the first book. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to keep them separate in my head. But I just started it.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any thoughts about it, but I'll let you all know when I finish it.
Oh, exciting.
What about you?
Well, so I mentioned this on the last episode, so I'm still reading. I'm reading Alchemize by Senlin Yu, and it's going great. I love it. I'm almost done. I'm very, very close to the end. And wanted to let you guys know, now that I've read it, is that it's very much like the fanfic. If you read the fanfic, if you read Manacled, if you read Alchemize, same thing. Like, literally line per line. Like, the scenes are the same. The only things that, like, do change is obviously the world and the whole, like, they took out the Harry Potter aspects and made it their own. And I think it's really well done. That does obviously affect some aspects of the story and some things are different. But overall, like, I think I know what's going to happen. I think it's going to end the same way. And I'm having a blast because I loved the fanfic, so I love this too. Yay! And I'm sad that it's almost over.
Is it, like, contender for top book of the year?
Well, I read Manacled this year, so...
Do you think Manacled is better?
Yes, but I will say that because I have more of an attachment to the characters in the world. So it's so similar that, like, if I were to like, Manacled's not online, like, maybe you can find it, but they took it out of the AO3. But if someone was asking me, like, which one should I read, I would say read Manacled. But in this one, like, they had to create this whole new world. And I think she did it very successfully, but it's just not... Like, I'm not as attached to it. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. But, like, the first one hurt more because I was like, I know these are my friends.
Characters very well. And there's, like, also less world building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no explanation, stuff like that.
I don't want to say bloats the story, but, like, adds to the story, makes it a lot longer.
Yeah.
That's why this book is so long.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's over 1,000 pages. So I'm almost done. But I'm glad that I have, like, a physical copy of this and, like, the story. Because I really like it. So, yeah. It's very, like, dark, though, and sad. So... trigger warning. Look it up, the trigger warnings before you read it. But yeah, that's what I'm currently reading. Shannon, do you want to tell us the synopsis of Diary of a Void?
Yeah, so Shibata is the only woman at her new workspace and is expected to do all the menial tasks. One day, she announces that she can't clear away all her coworkers' dirty cups because she's pregnant. The only thing is, Shibata is not pregnant. Shibata has to keep up this 9-month ruse as the boundary between her lie and her life begins to dissolve.
Ooh.
So, Isadora, what are your general thoughts about this story?
My general thoughts is that I really liked it. I thought it was, like, I was captivated throughout the whole thing. Like, I wasn't bored or anything. And I think that it was original, even though this concept is so, like, it's not, like, you've heard this before.
On Glee.
You've seen this on Glee. But I think the way that the author did it was pretty original. We're going to talk more about it later in the spoiler section, but it gives you a lot of, like, you can come up with your own conclusions, and Shannon and I have differing opinions of, like, what we think is actually happening, which is really interesting. Like, it's really cool being able to discuss this book like this. So it was different, and I liked it, and it gave me a lot to think about.
Yeah, I also really, really enjoyed it. It's a very short book.
Yeah.
It's like just over 200 pages. very quick read. I often found myself, when I wasn't reading it, thinking about Shibata and her lie and like what would happen at the end and how like, would she be found out? Would she get in trouble? Like things like that. It's like the perfect kind of thriller almost. Like where you keep reading it voraciously because you just want to figure out what is going to happen to her and this story that she has woven. Yeah. I thought the author did a really good job at keeping it interesting. Yeah. Because she would keep having to do like new and different things to like keep this up. And like, I don't want to say tricking more and more people, but kind of like that. And then, as Isadora was saying, there's different ways to read this book and like what is actually happening in this book. It's a really strange and weird book, which invites a lot of discussion. So I hope you stick around for the spoiler section because there's a lot to talk about, like interpreting what actually even happens in the book.
And that's something that, like, when you were talking about how a lot of new things were happening, so like it kept you on your toes, like it kept you interested. I think, because at the end of the day, like the concept is quote unquote simple. Like it's literally just a book following 9 months of this woman's life. Yeah. And it's just following her primarily. There are characters that pop in, like her coworkers, her friends, her family, but at the end of the day, we're in her mind because it is written in a way that's almost like a diary. Yes. It's not necessarily said that she's writing this down, but it is in her head. It's like a stream of conscience almost.
Yes. Yeah. So like you were saying, this is written in like a epistolary style where we're following each chapter is like a week of the pregnancy, which I thought was just a fun way to keep track of like this book instead of just doing like normal boring chapters. And Emi Yagi has a way of writing Shibata's consciousness because it is like first person. We're in her consciousness. It's very like blunt and like straightforward. Yes. Which helps with like the readability of this book, which makes it like very quick to read, but also like tells a lot about like her character. Like Shibata's a very like dry character in terms of like dry in like a humorous kind of way. It's also like funny just in general that this whole situation is like kind of funny. Yeah.
And she like, it's funny because she comes up with that lie, but she doesn't even think about like, oh my God, I'm lying. People are going to find out. No. She's just like immediately like in it. She's immediately like, okay, now I'm in this lie and this is my life. And she's just doing things. Yeah, she commits. It's like, oh, I guess now I have to download this app about pregnant women so that I know like what week, which I think was cool, like us, because it was a new week, and then she would also be like, oh, the baby's this size, and then I'm supposed to be like doing this, or I'm supposed to be doing that, and then she was implementing it in her life, so that was funny to like follow along.
I really liked reading, at least at the start of the book, the different ways that she would have to think about her lie. Like she's like, oh, I can't use the bathroom because if I'm on my period, they might hear me, you know, like, you know, switch out pads. So I have to use a different bathroom. And it's like the 4D chess she was playing in her head at the start of this. And then what was interesting was just kind of how like quick she was. She was like very clever. Like anytime her coworkers would like ask her a question or something, she would have very fast response. Like with her lie, she's very smart. I know. I don't think I could keep up the ruse for this long.
Exactly. Yeah.
But she was like constantly like thinking about it to the point where it becomes sort of all consuming to her, and then that sort of it reaches a point in the story where her narrative fully believes the lie. Like it goes to a point where she's, you know, doing these tasks or whatever to try. It's obvious that she's faking it to a point where there is a breakdown in her narrative, and it becomes more and more realistic.
Yeah, like everything just starts blending together with the reality. Yeah. And then you're like, wait, is she or is she not? Like, what is happening here?
So I really liked like the shift in the writing over the course of the book. And I think I thought it was really good. Yeah. So the other thing that was very interesting about this book was that it primarily explores the workplace culture in Japan, but also like at the company that Shibata works with. And like I mentioned in the summary, she's expected to take on like a bunch of like menial tasks because she is the only woman who works at her company. And she's supposed to like clean up after her coworkers,
make coffee,
take out like the trash, distribute like mail that they get. Yeah. As a sort of unspoken rule. And even though there's like younger men who work at her company, she's expected to take on all this work despite like having like quite a bit of experience, like work experience. And she already has her job, which is pretty demanding. And Shibata is very like burnt out from doing all this additional work. She stays in work for long hours. She comes home very late. She's very tired all the time, which is why she even starts this lie in the first place. And I think it's really interesting to hear about like this sort of experience that she is facing, because obviously it's a critique of like workplace culture in Japan, but also it's like something that if you're a woman, you can relate to.
Yeah. Yep.
So many like unspoken tasks that women have to like clean up around the house if they have partners who are like male or whatever. They're more expected to take on more household work. Like it's like reported. Like even if it's like, you know, culture is changing and all, but there's still a lot of unspoken task or whatever that women are expected to take on. So it's fun. Fun is maybe the wrong word. It's interesting to read about this kind of stuff persisting in other cultures too.
And then what goes along with that is the whole pregnancy thing too. Just like how women are treated, how people start treating her after she gets pregnant, and how things change. And then it's just, and then also later on, like we kind of see someone that like just had a baby and we see how they're feeling. So that also is cool too, because I like personally, like I do read translated fiction and fiction from like different countries, but not as much as I should. And so reading this was really cool because it opens up like your mind to like seeing other different experiences and being open to like reading more translated fiction. And I thought it was really well translated. Obviously I can't read Japanese, but I'm assuming it was.
And you talk about the title of the book itself, which is actually really cool.
Yeah, so I'm not going to try to say it in Japanese again, don't speak it, but basically the original title of the book in Japanese is a play on words to like kind of, which make it sound similar to the title of this guide for new mothers and like expecting mothers in Japan. But the word that changes from like child, it's basically a diary of like maternity and stuff, but the word changes, so it's more of a like emptiness. It's about what the word means, and so that's how they translated the title to Diary of a Void, which is really interesting. So it's like instead of a diary of a maternity of a baby, it's like diary of like that, like in theory there's like nothing there.
And I also, what I liked about that was because it's like a pamphlet or a book or whatever that's handed out by like the Japanese government. And so you're expected to like record how your child is like developing up until like the age of 7. And that ties into like the way that this book is written and like their epistolary format of like Shibata like writing down how the baby is, quote unquote baby, is developing. And I think that's really cool. And I like the way that they translated it. And I think that's so fun to think about like, when you're reading a translated work of fiction, the main problem that you face is that there's like different cultures, right? And like, how are you going to translate Japanese culture to like North American Western culture? And I mean, I thought the translation did a good job.
So definitely open to reading more translated fiction. We were just talking about it before, especially Emi Yagi has another book. I think it's called When the Museum Closes or something like that. And we were just reading the description and it sounds really cool too. And it's very short as well. The short seems like an easy read as well. And I'm definitely going to pick it up, I think. So
you can read more Japanese fiction. But speaking of, we can talk about
Japan.
This episode sort of worked backwards in that we had the activity planned. And we were like, can we make a podcast episode about this? So we did. We traveled to Japan together. That's why we were gone for so long. We were mainly in Tokyo, but we also went to Kyoto and Osaka. And it was just so much fun.
It was so fun. And we both had never been there. So planned a lot of things to do. We wanted to hit all the major touristy stuff, but also some different things as well. And so it was just so cool, like getting to see everything. And then reading this book after, like seeing things that we were, that we experienced.
The main thing is that I would really, really recommend reading, if you're interested in reading a book from a place that you're going to. Because it really helps you get into like the mindset of that place, especially if you've never visited before. And I think it's really cool to read about a place that you're going to visit. And then afterwards, we read this book when we came back from Japan. And we would read the book and the narration would mention stuff that, you know, we did or places we saw. So that was really fun.
And then it helped us picture it as well. Like some things I was like, okay, I can kind of tell how this looks. Because I think if I had read this before, I mean, obviously it would be cool because then we would go there and see things that we read. But I think I would have imagined it a little different. I would have pictured it maybe in a more Western way, in a way. Like I would have just kind of adjusted it in my head to be more of like what I know. But seeing that, and then I was actually picturing like Tokyo and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was cool. And some of the things that she noted, I was writing down notes, and whenever they would say something that we knew, I was like, oh, so like they were talking about the JR station.
Yay, the JR station.
The metro station that we took everywhere, every day, all the time. That's like our money went primarily to that.
Transit, yeah.
Something really cool about the station was the stamps. They had like little stamps for each station.
Yeah.
And we brought a little notebook and we did like stamps on each. And I think that was like one of my favorite parts of the whole trip.
It was so fun.
Yeah,
I love that.
whenever
I think
we would get-
every train station should have stamps.
I know, because whenever we would get there, we would be like, before we leave the station, we have to find the stamp. It was like a little scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Like every time it was so fun. So definitely recommend doing that if you're going. And another thing, they talked about like the Suica cards.
Yes.
Which is what you use at the station.
It makes little things so fun to read about.
It's funny because like if someone had traveled to Canada or something and then they read a book that took place in Canada and they were like, the compass card. They're like, oh my God, yes, the compass card.
Of course.
or like they talked about like the Shibuya station. They also talked about I think it's called Castellas, which is that little, which is to eat, which is, remember those little things that we got at the 7-Eleven? The little cake things?
Yes, that thing. Yeah,
They were talking about it. So like they were snacking on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I had that. And that was so good. They also mentioned a lot of food. So it was cool. Like, because we could like picture, we remember going to Japan and eating all the food. So good. But yeah, I think we recommend traveling.
If you can, go to other places. If you are able to afford it. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
And also reading books, because I also primarily read, not even just Western books, I mean primarily like books published in United States of America.
Yep.
So reading other books.
Yeah.
I want to try to like read more diverse books.
Yeah, and then supporting, different authors. And it's so important to see the world and see like how people live and like having that different mindset, not being stuck in this one mindset. So this was really interesting. Do you want to talk about anything from Japan that like it was one of your favorite things?
You want to talk about like our favorite thing that we did? We did so many things.
We did so many things.
But I think one of my favorite things that we did was that we hiked a mountain.
Yes.
We went to Mount Takao, which is about an hour away from Tokyo, on our first day, so we weren't tired yet. And we did the hike up the mountain, and it was just really beautiful to do.
Oh, it was so tiring, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
Getting to the top. We did hike another thing. We did the Inari Shrine.
Inari Shrine.
Yes. And that also was a hike that we got all the way to the top. And it's just so gratifying getting to the top and being like, yeah, I did this. I think one thing that I really loved was Nara Park, which is the deer park. They just have deer everywhere. And then you get loose crackers and they bow to you and you give them crackers. And you have to just be very careful about it though. Like don't open your crackers when there's like 20 of them around you because you will get swarmed. You will lose all your crackers in like 10 seconds.
Happened to our friend.
It happened to our friend. We have video proof. And it was a little stressful. So I recommend going to a spot where it's a little more calm. You can find one or two and you're like, you can have your little moment with them without like being chased. But overall, it was so fun. We can't wait to go back. One day. But yeah, so I think we're going to go into spoilers for the book.
Yes.
So if you haven't read it, you can stay if you want to. But
if you don't care,
you should read it because it was good.
Because we recommend it.
And it's, again, like we said, a very quick read. We read it in like 2 days. So,
So we only have one thing planned for this section of the podcast.
Big plan. Yeah.
Is the baby real?
And we have differing opinions about this one.
Isadora, you start. What do you think?
I think the baby is real. And
this is like, are you the father?
Yes. Because, okay, if you haven't read the book and you might be confused, you're like, what do you mean? The whole synopsis, everything you talked about is that she was lying. But was she? And for most of the book, I was like, the baby's not real. She's lying. This is a big lie. It gets to a point where it gets a little confusing because people are touching her belly and they're feeling the baby move. She's feeling the baby move. I feel like sometimes she feels like nauseous or she's feeling like symptoms. And I think when she's about 36 weeks in, she's like, I should probably go to the hospital. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they're not going to see anything. They're going to tell you crazy. But she gets to the hospital. They do the ultrasound and there is a baby in there. And, there is, and I'll let you talk about what it could be. But for me, then at the end, when the baby's born, there's a little epilogue and she is showing pictures to her coworkers that play the baby. But these are actually, she says, not fake pictures, but pictures from like another person on Instagram that had the baby around the same time. So she's using the baby as like something to like a placeholder. I think the baby is real, and I think that Shibata was in denial about it. Perhaps something happened. We don't really get that much backstory of her life before. I mean, some, but I think maybe something happened or something, and she was in denial, and this is the reality that she created for herself to cope. She's like, I still have to, like, you know, take care of myself, take care of the baby, do these things, but I don't want to accept that I have a baby growing inside my belly. So I will create this lie and just pretend that it's not real. And one of the reasons I think that is that it gets to a point where they're talking about postpartum depression, and they discuss that, and they're like, you know, it's something that happens to a lot of mothers. It's very common, and it's something that you have to worry about. And that just like got in my head, and I'm like, what if she can't accept that this is happening to her, but this is just how she is coping like that. So I think it got to the end, and I think like the baby's real. I think the photos are of the baby, but she's still trying to, she is an unreliable narrator, so we never get that final answer. But I think it's real, and especially because people were touching her stomach and they were feeling things, she was feeling things, she was taking all the steps of a pregnant woman. So she was taking care of herself. It's not like she wasn't doing anything. Like if she had been like, you know, drinking alcohol the whole time, if she had been like not doing this, not doing that, then I'd be like, it's probably not real, because if she was actually pregnant, that would really affect her. But she was doing it. So I feel like she was, Shannon, but you don't agree with me. Tell me.
I don't agree. I'm on the side of, I think at the end of the day, the baby is fake. Here's why. Now, I kind of had the opposite experience where I was reading the book, and halfway through, I thought, is the baby real? And I kind of thought it was real all the way up until the ending.
Yeah.
So I had the same thought. I went through the same thought as you.
When you had that thought where you're like, is the baby real? Did you like expand on that in your mind? Did you come up with like,
yes.
Did you, similar to what I thought in a way?
Basically the same thing. I thought she went through a traumatic experience.
Okay.
And then, like, she was inventing this sort of narrative that, you know, she wasn't actually pregnant. And, like, the story was her grappling with that and coming to terms with the fact that she actually, like, was.
Which is, what I think. But you got back to that. You went away from that.
I went away from that because of the epilogue. But I totally understand a narrative where the baby is real. I also like a point in the baby is real category that you didn't mention.
Okay.
But when I thought it was like the realist in my head was after she went to the doctor, and then she was like really sick.
Yeah.
And she was like kind of almost like horrified.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You know, she could feel it moving around a lot, and she was feeling really sick. And I thought, oh, so this is kind of like an interesting thing where it's like, you're going to have to try to like come to terms with the fact that this is like a real thing that is happening to your body.
Yeah.
And this is something that maybe you didn't consent to.
Yeah.
And like, that's where I thought the story was going.
Yeah, that definitely, yeah.
And there was a lot of like backstory about Shibata's like life before she had started joining this company, which maybe would have suggested to that, you know, happening to her. But points to where I think it still ended up being fake. What I didn't actually like mention this when we were talking about this beforehand, but she does get her period in the story. That is something that happens to her.
Does she get her period, or does she just bleed? Because that can happen.
That is true.
Especially at the beginning.
That is true. Okay, that is true. Immediately diffused.
Because I think she only mentioned it once, and it was at the beginning.
She only mentioned it once. Let me talk about my actual thing about why I think this is fake. Because throughout the story, Shibata does multiple things to fake the pregnancy. Yeah. She stuffs her shirt. She tells us that she starts like tracking her data on this app so that she can like keep up with how her baby is progressing. If she did have her period or not. That is something that might have happened. And she consciously is like, oh, I need to like, you know, go to a different bathroom or whatever. And then we reach a point in the book where she stops faking it.
Yeah.
She tells us that she stops stuffing her shirt. She's like naturally gaining more weight. Now, is that because she's pregnant, or is that because she's actually eating 3 meals a day? People are touching her stomach and stuff. There's kind of throwaway lines, which to me point to it being fake again, because there's throwaway lines of like, she'll see a woman on the train or whatever, and they're looking like at her stomach. And I'm like, oh, do they know that something's weird about it? Like, can they see, like, are they sensing that something's weird about it? Are her coworkers touching her stomach and then being like, oh yeah, you know, I can feel it, but are they like lying or whatever? Or is she writing that they saw something or whatever? And when I got to the doctor, I was like, oh, I totally think this is real because I don't understand the ultrasound thing then. Yeah. But I circled back to it being fake because of the epilogue. Because in the epilogue, she says that she is downloading pictures off of Instagram from this mommy blogger who had her baby around the same time. And so is using those photos as photos of her child. Yeah. Which is, again, like a level of faking it that, but like that she's showing at the end.
But so you think that's real, but then you think that like the hospital visit and maybe her feeling the baby kick her stomach and stuff, like you think this is on her mind because this is not her faking it, it's her belief, like seeing this. And
I definitely think that she is some kind of mental illness. Yes. She's definitely depressed. Yeah. At least for one. Yeah. And I think that is like can have like physically. Yes. Like I think the fact that she is like getting bigger or whatever can be like pointed back to like one, she's eating better, but also she's like mentally she has a mental illness and that's like physically affecting her body. So I think that leads to like why it's still fake. Yeah. And she can also just sort of believe because the great thing about this is that because she is an unreliable narrator, which is that she'll write down, I felt the baby kick, and I was like, did you?
Did you? So I think it's funny is that what I think is real, you think it's delusion, and what I think is delusion, you think is real. Because that's the thing, like we think obviously we both agree she's mentally ill, we both agree she's lying about something. But I think she's lying to herself and you think she's lying to other people.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think another thing that would also like help with your idea is that she doesn't really tell like the people in her life, like in terms of like she doesn't tell her parents, her family, or her like friends, her like I guess best friends, the friends from before. She only lies to her coworkers, and then she meets a group of mothers or expecting mothers at the aerobics class.
Yes.
So this is who she's interacting with. And I guess like people on the train and stuff like around her life. But the people that knew her before, the people that know her really, she's not talking to.
The other thing why I think is a lie is because the climax of the story is when she not really admits it, but she's talking to another one of these expectant mothers who's also just like is having a rough time because she's having no support in like raising
it's someone
her
that just
child.
had the baby.
This is someone who just had the baby. But they kind of have a like emotional conversation with each other where in the conversation Shibata says, you know, I'm going to keep up this lie. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep up this lie even after the quote unquote baby is born. And I'm like, well, if it was real, why would you say that?
Well, but the lie to herself, Jenny. To the lie that it's a lie.
Because it's like, that is essentially like the climax of the book where it's like, to me, I'm like, well, that's when I expected the baby to like be real, you know what I mean? And I think if it was real, she wouldn't call it a lie, but maybe
she's just
it is the lie to herself.
There's two things that I think could have happened, not necessarily that it needed to happen, but it would have been interesting. Is one, seeing her tell someone in her life, like her family or her friends, because and they don't have to like give away, but like their reaction would say a lot because they would be able to tell, like they know her. Like anyone else, they would be like, oh, I didn't expect this from you, but okay, like why would you lie? But then her family would be like, are you or you're not? Like they would know. And I think if she was actually pregnant and she had told them that she was lying about it, they'd be like, and if she wasn't pregnant, she told them that she was lying, they would also be like, but like I think it would just been interesting to see that. And then another thing is if we had, and this would have like played along with my idea, but if we had seen a baby at the end.
Yes, but I think at the end of the day, it is a story left up to like interpretation. It's like both things, and that's what I like the most about the story is that it's like there's no clear answer. And in fact, I think there's like equal evidence for like both interpretations of the story. And it's crazy because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like from someone who primarily reads fantasy, I read one literary book and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. No, and that's so true. I think she did a really good job because exactly, like it's so hard for us to come to a conclusion or like a consensus because we both, like all of the evidence can be so two-sided or, you know, which is a hard thing to achieve. So.
Yes. I think shows this book was well written.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think the baby is real?
Please let us know if you think the baby is real or not.
It is real, right, guys? It is. I think one thing that was, again, we keep using the word interesting, but truly it was, was how she started taking care of herself the moment that she came up with this lie. And I think it almost read, and it wasn't a self-help book, but it almost read like it. I felt inspired. I was like reading, I was like, wait, you're so right. Because she would be like, and then I started cooking meals for myself instead of buying out all the time. And then I started like standing up for myself at work, and I started leaving work early and like having time to go to the grocery store and getting healthier stuff. And then she's like, oh, I started going to like the workout classes, started going to aerobics. And there was one time where she left a station earlier than her normal station so she could go for a walk. And I'm like, that's so like healthy. Or when there was a point where she got really like into Amazon Prime and she started watching so many movies all the time. And then she was like, and then I made the decision to cancel Amazon Prime because I was watching too much TV. And I'm like, girl, that's so healthy of you. As someone who's mentally ill, you're like being really healthy right now. She would talk about being pregnant, but she wouldn't talk about like there's a life, like I have to live for this new life, or I have to do this for this life. I have to take care of myself because this will help with this whole life. She was just like, no, I am pregnant, and this is how pregnant people take care of themselves. And which was interesting, because even though like you could be like, oh, people start taking care of themselves more because instead of taking care of them normally on like a normal day, they would do it because they have this baby that they're now living for. But for her, just the way that she spoke, it was just like, no, she's doing it for herself. She's like, I want to feel better. I want to do this, and I'm liking this. And I don't know, I liked that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that also like ties into why like her coworkers are like, oh, don't, like when you're pregnant, like the whole conceit of the story, it's like when you're pregnant, oh, you can leave work on time, don't overwork yourself. Like her coworkers are a lot more mindful of her. Yeah. Which is because like they're like, oh, because you're like, there's two of you because of the baby.
Instead of like, this would be good for you.
Yes.
As a person, just you, like as an individual.
Yes. The almost like, one thing I didn't like about this book is that she goes back to work at the end of the story. And her coworkers are like, now we've learned how to pick up after ourselves.
Because you weren't here.
Because you weren't here to do it for us. And I'm like, well, that feels like a Band-Aid fix on the story, you know? Yeah. Like kind of thing where it's like, that was like almost like a little bit unrealistic to me anyway. But it's like, well, now we've learned to pick up after ourselves and answer the phone.
I know. and again, that because she was taking care so much care of herself, I was like, you can see that this workplace is not good for you. Like, I really thought she wasn't going to come back. I really thought she would be like, okay, and this is not healthy for me, and this isn't now I'm going to stop and look for something better.
See, I almost thought like she would return to work and they would have hired another woman.
Oh my god!
And they were like treating her
that would have been interesting.
And I'm like, wow, the cycle. Like
that would have been interesting.
Like that's the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. Her talking about her being the only woman in this workplace, I'm like, I could not do that. Could not. If I started a new job and I was the only woman, no, I'm out of here, guys. That's
actually like so funny because I've been like the only woman in so many places.
Really?
Yeah. Women are in physics. If you're a woman who's interested in physics, go for it. But like even to this day where it's like I've been in classes like for whatever where I am the only girl. I did go to like a smaller university. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have that experience. I've definitely been on, like at my work, like I've definitely been in groups and teams of primarily men and like meetings where I was the only woman and stuff, but not like, but I work in the arts. So I feel like it's a bit of more of a mix, but that's crazy to me.
So it still exists.
Wow.
I had like in the faculty of like the department I was in, we had one woman. Like in the whole faculty.
That's crazy.
And that was crazy. Like it was.
I guess, yeah.
And it's like noticeable when you're a woman and you're like looking around, you're like,
Aw, damn. Equality, guys. Let's get more women in the workplace.
More women in STEM.
Women in STEM. It's funny because it's not like what this book was about, but I took that away from me in the sense of like, be more aware of like, because it's a diary, quote unquote diary, you're seeing the progress. And she's like, and now I'm feeling better. And I'm like, so true, girl. So true. Maybe I should do that. So that's kind of funny. unintentional inspiration from this woman lying about being pregnant. Or is she?
So yeah, something I liked about this book, again, is just talking about the general woman experience. But the other thing it tackles besides like the workplace culture thing is the loneliness that like maybe just a lot of people in general feel, especially when you're like pregnant and there's a lot of weight on you to like take, you know, care of, you know, this baby that's growing inside of you, but also like once the baby is born, to like care for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of these women in the story who are like, you know, the expectant mothers and then they like give birth, they feel very lonely, like their husbands aren't helping them take care of the baby, with like the excuse like, you know, they have to go to work and they have to like, you know, provide for the family. And the woman is like feels very lonely despite like, you know, I mean, I don't want to say like despite of having the baby, but like they feel very alone in this. And Shibata herself feels very lonely at her job because she works like very, very long hours at her job. Doesn't get to hang out with her friends as much as like, you know, she's able to.
Yeah. It feels like up until this lie, like she's just on autopilot, you know?
Yes.
Getting home late, not eating great food, going back to work next day. Like every day is just the same. Yeah,
but Shibata's like able to take time for herself, make friends outside of work, go to classes. At least among the other like expectant mothers in like her aerobics class, like build this sort of like community where she is able to like, nothing really like comes up of it in the story, but it's definitely like another theme of the story, which is like the loneliness that women feel when they are pregnant and like are going through like everything, because it feels like everything needs to fall on them to like take care of the child.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And I liked that aspect of the story too. I kind of wish there was more of a community aspect.
Yeah.
Because I think the way to solve that, quote unquote, or at least to like combat it, is to like share your experiences with like the other people that may be going through it. And like, it was sort of like that with the other people at her aerobics class, but I feel like it could have gone further.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And we were in her mind so much that you could just see like she was very singular in her life. Like she would see people here and there, but even her like best friends didn't feel, especially because I think she only saw them once, and this was a year of her life, guys. So, and her parents, like she only saw them once, and then everyone else, it was just like her every day. She was settling at work with something that she didn't even seem that she liked. A lot of the times, like she would talk about how she didn't like her job or she didn't care about her job.
And she didn't like the people at her job.
And I'm like, I think it just, with loneliness comes with like a feeling of just acceptance of your situation and settling. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. So like you gotta accept the help and just have that community around you and the friendships. But yeah, I think these are all our thoughts about Diary of a Void. We really enjoyed it. We definitely recommend if you're interested. If you're still here, you got the spoilers, but you can still read it. It's still really, really interesting. And so let us know if you think the baby's real or not. We really want to hear from you about this topic because I'm so curious. But yeah, so thank you so much for listening. If you have any suggestions for what books we could read next, or if you have any questions or anything, you can email us at betweenthebookspod@gmail.com. You can also comment on the little comment section on Spotify. You can rate us on... like give us some 5 stars or like whatever you want to do. Yeah, what are we reading next time, Shannon?
We are going to be discussing The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow,
Yay!
which is my most anticipated book of the year. I'm very excited.
Honestly, yeah. So excited. So we can't wait to talk to you guys about it. We can't wait to start reading it. That's good. Soon.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye!